We are learning a very hard lesson. A very expensive lesson. I'll explain here in a minute. Hi, this is Angie here at Abundant Acres Homestead, and this video is going to be quite a bit different than our usual videos. I've always said that I would share our wins and our fails, our ups and our downs, our wins and our losses, and all of that. And this video is going to be a little bit harder to make because this is the fail, the down part of homesteading. And homesteading isn't always easy. And I just wanted to be completely real and honest with all of our viewers out there, because homesteading isn't always, you know, rainbows, puppy dogs, and fluffy chicken butts. Sometimes it's hard and there's hard decisions that need to be made. So if you were just looking for the fun type videos and the fluffy chicken butts, I ask that you just go ahead and click off now and go watch some of our other videos, because this video is going to be a real life situation type of video. So if you're going to go ahead and click off, I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, be safe and God bless. So for those of you that's decided to stay tuned, I want to thank you very much. But I also want to apologize. This video might be a little long because I have a lot to say. We have learned so much over the past few days, and I just want to be able to share all of the information that we've learned. And if you have intentions of buying a cow or even thinking about buying a cow in the future, I ask that you watch this video because we have seriously learned so much. I also want to say before we get started, some of the stuff you're going to see and hear may not be pretty. So if you got a weak stomach or you're eating dinner right now, you might want to wait till you finish with that before you come watch this video. But I also want to say that even though what you see and hear may not be pretty, I would still do it all over again because I am just praying that it's all going to work out. So some of you probably already know we got a calf last weekend, and I was like over the moon excited about getting this calf. I've always wanted a cow. It's one of those things that we've just talked about for so many years that I kind of never expected it to happen. Well, over the weekend it happened and we got our very first calf. Before we even went to pick her up, I had asked the previous owner about scours, and he was completely honest and said that she had scours, but she was in the process of getting over it. So I had actually, and for those of you that don't know, scours is actually the term that they use with cows for diarrhea. So we've had animals before with diarrhea, and I've always been able to use just electrolytes and stuff like that to get them through. But what I didn't know with cows is scours is actually even more life and death than what the animals that I have previously dealt with. Because of the cows and their body weight and things like that, they have a tendency to dehydrate very fast. And it can be within a matter of hours. That's how fast this can really hit them. So if you're ever going to look for a young calf, if you even hear the term scours, you might want to stay away. And if you're going to look at a cow before you even go, I would definitely ask about the scours. Because scours is not a fun thing, it's not a pretty thing, and it really can be life and death. So as soon as we got her home, I went ahead and fed her because I knew it was her feeding time. And she took the bottle quick, fast, and in a hurry. Some of you have seen that video. She took it down pretty fast. I did find out that you feed calves twice a day. Sometimes you do it 3 times a day. But with her having scours, I had to make sure that I got the electrolytes included in there. So I was actually feeding her 3 times a day, which is what I was told to do. The first morning feeding was obviously her formula. The second one was to get the electrolytes in her. And then again in the evening, I would feed her. So up until this point, we had been told so many things to help her with scours. Everything from scour pills, the probiotics, raw eggs, kaopectate, Pepto-Bismol. We had just been told so many different things to try to help her with the scours, but it just seemed like none of them were helping. And fresh water and hay is available to her at all times, so she always has that out there. So we got her on the weekend and everything was fine for a few days. And then Tuesday happened. Tuesday morning, she was fine. She ate her morning bottle, great. We was playing around. I was walking her around, showing her off to the neighbor. Everything was fine. And then Tuesday about 4 o'clock, I went out to check on her and she was in her shelter just laying there. So I couldn't get her roused up. Normally I can, just holler for her and her head perks up or she'll come out or whatever. None of that happened. So I got in there, and when I did, she was pretty much lifeless. Her eyes rolled back and I knew that we were in trouble. Obviously, she was too dehydrated and too weak to even nurse off of a bottle. So there was no way for me to even get the electrolytes into her that way. And unfortunately, I did not have the stuff here to do the tubal. I've done tubals before with other animals, but I did not have the stuff. I did not have the things here to do that. So that was one huge mistake that I made. Granted, I wasn't expecting to have to do that, but you always need to expect to do things like that. And I did not have the stuff here. So that was a huge mistake on my part, is not having the stuff here. Literally at this point, all that we could do was call the vet and start praying. And that's exactly what we did. Kenny and Boo started praying for her. I went inside. I was calling the vet to get a hold of somebody. We were able to get a hold of somebody and we took her in right away. So by the time we got to the vet, her temperature was 105. She was able to stand, but she was still pretty weak and you could just tell she wasn't quite herself yet. She was better than what she was when we found her, but still not doing great. And with a temperature of 105, she was probably going to get a whole lot worse. So the vet decided that it would be best for them to keep her. So they kept her overnight and they put her on an IV. They gave her steroids, antibiotics, stuff to bring her fever down, and then obviously fed her as well. And they said that they was going to do all of this and that they would call me the next morning to let me know if she made it. They finally called about 10:30 and let me know that she did in fact make it through the night and that she was doing much better. Her temperature was down and that she ate her morning bottle. They actually used the term, she was ravenous about her bottle, which she normally is, especially in the morning. So I had hope. I went to pick her up and she was doing a lot better. They sent her home with different medications that I have to continue to give her. And $422 later, we were back home with our calf with no guarantees that she's still gonna make it. Another huge mistake on my part was not knowing the calf's background. I literally do not know for sure what breed she was or anything when I took her to the vet. So if you ever go to buy a cow, make sure that you see mom and dad and you know exactly what kind of breed it is, because you need that kind of information if you're ever going to take her to a vet. Obviously, you can tell from the looks of her that she had at least some Jersey into her. So we did know that much. So with her obviously looking like a Jersey cow and being a female, it didn't make a whole lot of sense why somebody would want to get rid of a female Jersey cow, right? Well, what we were told is that she was a Jersey Hereford mix. So we just assumed that she was probably an accident until somebody told us about the term free martin. I had never heard that term before, but now I understand what a free martin is. So when cows have twins, if they have two girls, it's fine. If they have two boys, it's fine. But if they have a boy and a girl, the boy will be fine, but the girl usually is infertile. So they are called a free martin. And obviously, if a female Jersey isn't fertile, she's not going to give milk because she's not ever going to be able to get pregnant. And obviously, because we didn't buy her from the original owner, we weren't able to even contact them to ask these type of questions and get any more information on her. So this is where the story gets really, really crazy. Okay, so because we did not know for sure her breed, and because we didn't know if she was a twin, we basically didn't know anything other than she was a brown cow and she looked like a Jersey and she had scours. We didn't even really know her age, because when we took her to the vet and we told her how old we were told, because at that point in time, she would have been 12, 13, she would have been 13 days old. And the vet just kind of looked at us like we were crazy. So then that made us question her age even. Because we weren't able to get a hold of the original owner, there was no way for us to know any of these questions that people were asking us. But we did know that she was tagged. So we started looking into the tagging, because again, we don't know anything about cows. But we did find some stuff out, and this is where the story gets really crazy. Okay, so some things we learned about the tags on the cow's ears. They actually mean something. First and foremost, they have to be tagged to cross state lines. So there's an actual code when it comes to the ear tags. So we did find out 840 means that she was born in the United States, which we actually wasn't ever doubting that. Find out that there's actually different colored tags as well. From what we found out, the yellow tags actually means that they are a keeper, and the white tag means that they're to be sold or whatever. So here we had a girl calf with yellow ear tags. We knew she was born in the United States, but we didn't know anything else. So Kenny called the USDA, and some of the pieces to the story starts coming together. And he gave him the tag number, and we were hoping to get more information on our cow. And wow, things took a turn. He almost felt like he was being interrogated. They wanted to know how we got the cow, where it come from, They just had a ton of questions. And then Kenny got worried, because he was thinking, oh my goodness, they're asking all this information. They're going to want to know. They're going to come take Angie's cow, and then she is going to flip out, which he's right. I would have flipped out. But after he gets through the interrogation of answering all the questions of how we got to her and everything else, then that's when we started getting a little bit of the information. They couldn't tell us everything. They obviously have her in the registry, but they couldn't give us information on the original owners. The only thing that they could tell us is that she came from a very large dairy operation in New York, which is what spurred all of the questions of how did a New York cow end up in Indiana on our property? Because this cow was not tagged to go across state lines, and it went from New York to Indiana. So they had questions. Which we answered, but we also had the questions, like how old she was, what her actual breed was, and about the whole free martin thing. And they couldn't actually answer all of those questions without messing up the privacy of the original owner, but we were able to get some kind of information without actually them giving information. So because she came from a very large dairy operation, the likelihood of her being a Jersey Hereford mix is extremely, extremely unlikely. Because of the large cow operation, there would have been no Herefords on the property in that area. So with that, we can almost deduct, without actually saying, that she's probably more likely a full breed Jersey. And the fact that she was tagged with a yellow instead of a white. A white is one that would have been shipped off, because it would have been no use to the farm, as where a yellow tag would have been one that they had intended to keep. So what they assumed is that she probably got mixed into the wrong batch, that she was actually supposed to be kept because she had the yellow tag instead of the white tag. So she probably got loaded on with the ones that they were trying to get rid of, and she was just a accident. So some of the questions the USDA had for us was how we got her, did we purchase her, how much we paid for her, where we got her from, and then made sure that they knew that she came from across the state lines, that was illegal, and that an animal that comes across the state lines has to be vet checked, which we were covered there, and they are actually sending papers out for us to prove that we've actually taken her to a vet. I do know that the USDA is getting a hold of the original owners. We are not allowed to have that information, But we did allow the USDA to give the original owners our information in hopes that they would call and that we could have actual more information. So some of the things that we learned by getting a hold of the USDA, and these are big ones, is one, you cannot transport livestock over the state line. There's an actual process that they have to go through to get animals across state lines. It happens illegally, but there is an actual process to get them legally across state lines. Ear tags mean something. There's an actual code, and it's almost like a cow's social security number, if you would say. That number will follow her for the rest of her life. And it's a federal offense to remove those ear tags. So she will always, because I don't really care for the ear tags and actually thought about cutting it off, but that is illegal. Do not cut off an ear tag. And if something happens to that ear tag, from what we found out, is you better still have it. Even if it's not on the cow, you better go find it. And they will watch for cows with a hole that you could tell that they were tagged and the tag was taken out. So never buy a cow with a hole in its ear where it's been tagged, or ask for the tag, because if you do not have that tag, you can be fined for it, because you're the one that has possession of the cow. You will be fined for it. Some things we learned through the vet: if you are going to look at a calf and it has scours, you probably want to pass. Scours does happen, but the mortality rate isn't very good for a calf. So if you're going to look at a calf with scours, you might want to pass, because according to the vet, even if you do everything possible, they still might not make it. And that's what we're looking at with our calf at this point. We're doing everything within our power to get her through the scours, but we still have no guarantee that she's going to make it. And like I said before, honestly, even knowing what I know now, I would still do it again. I don't advise others to go into it knowing all of this and doing it, but I would still do it again, because I truly believe that this is where she belongs, because I know I'm going to be taking care of her. You know, I know I'm going to be doing everything within my power to give her the best life and to give her the best chance at life. So would I do it again? Yes, I would. Do I advise others to do it? No, I don't, because it is a very expensive process. And it's a hard lesson to learn, especially not knowing how this is going to end up. But I am truly, truly praying that she is going to be a blessing to our homestead for many, many, many years to come. So with all of that being said, sorry if this video went a little long, but I just wanted to make sure that I got all the information out there. If I've forgotten anything, or if you have any questions, just leave it in the comments below and I will do my very best to answer it. If I don't have the answer, I will help you look for the answer. So yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Be safe and God bless. I think it's possible to train a cow the way you do a dog, you know, with like hand signals.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna try it. Good girl. Good girl.